The red lightsaber is the color most people instantly connect with the dark side. Unlike Jedi lightsabers, which usually come from kyber crystals that naturally bond with their user, red lightsabers are created in a much darker way. A dark side user takes a kyber crystal and corrupts it through anger, hatred, pain, and the Force. Because of that, the red lightsaber represents power, rage, fear, and control. It is not just a weapon, it is a symbol of someone choosing domination over peace. Characters like Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Count Dooku, and Kylo Ren all use red blades, but each one shows the color in a slightly different way. For Vader, it represents his fall, his pain, and the anger that keeps him trapped. The red lightsaber is also meant to feel intimidating. When that blade ignites, it usually tells the audience that this character is dangerous, aggressive, and willing to do whatever it takes to win. The green lightsaber is usually seen as the color of wisdom, patience, and a deeper connection to the Force. While the blue lightsaber is often linked with Jedi who are more active warriors, the green lightsaber is normally connected to Jedi who are more spiritual, thoughtful, and balanced. These are the Jedi who do not always rush straight into battle. Instead, they try to understand the situation first, listen to the Force, and only fight when they truly need to. These were Jedi who focused more on knowledge, peace, negotiation, and understanding the mysteries of the Force. They could still fight, and many of them were extremely powerful. But combat was not always their first answer. Characters like Yoda, Qui-Gon Jinn, and Luke Skywalker later in his journey are strongly connected with the green lightsaber. This makes the color feel calmer and wiser compared to blue. It shows a Jedi who has grown past simply wanting to win a fight and is now trying to understand the bigger picture. The blue lightsaber is one of the most iconic weapons in all of Star Wars. When most people think of a Jedi, this is probably the color that comes to mind first. It has been used by characters like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and Luke Skywalker at the beginning of his journey. The blue blade is usually connected to bravery, discipline, and protection. In older Star Wars lore, blue was often linked with Jedi Guardians, Jedi who focused more on combat, defense, and taking action when peace was threatened. These were the Jedi who stood on the front lines. They were not just thinkers or diplomats, they were warriors who believed the Force should be used to defend the innocent and fight back against darkness. But that does not mean a blue lightsaber makes someone perfect. Anakin's blue blade is a great example of that. He starts as a hero, but eventually falls to the dark side, showing that the lightsaber color can represent who someone is trying to be, not always who they become. The yellow lightsaber is most famously connected to the Jedi Temple Guard. Unlike blue or green lightsabers, which are usually tied to individual Jedi and their personal journey, the yellow blade feels more connected to duty, discipline, and service. The Jedi Temple Guards were not there to seek glory or attention. Their role was to protect the Jedi Temple, guard sacred places, and keep order within the Jedi Order itself. This makes the yellow lightsaber feel different from the others. It is not just the weapon of a warrior, and it is not just the weapon of a wise Force user. It sits somewhere in between. Yellow can represent someone who is balanced enough to fight when needed, but also calm enough to act with patience and control. The yellow lightsaber has also been linked to Jedi Sentinels, who were known for balancing combat skills with knowledge, investigation, and practical problem-solving. So yellow is not only about guarding a place, but also about protecting peace in a more thoughtful and disciplined way. The orange lightsaber is one of the more unusual lightsaber colors, and because of that, it feels more mysterious than the others. Orange sits somewhere between yellow and red, which makes it feel like a color of balance, but not in the same peaceful way as green or white. It has the warmth of yellow, but also some of the danger and intensity of red. Because of this, an orange lightsaber often feels like it belongs to someone who does not fit perfectly into one side of the Force. A Jedi or Force user with an orange blade could be seen as independent, unpredictable, and willing to question the rules. They may still want to do the right thing, but they might not always follow the traditional Jedi path. Instead of being completely tied to the light side or fully consumed by the dark side, orange gives off the feeling of someone walking their own path. They can represent curiosity, survival, inner conflict, and a Force user who has experienced things that changed how they see the galaxy. That is what makes the orange lightsaber so interesting. It feels like the weapon of someone who questions everything, learns from both sides, and refuses to be easily labeled. The white lightsaber is one of the most unique lightsaber colors in Star Wars. Unlike blue, green, or yellow, the white blade is not usually connected to the traditional Jedi Order. Instead, it represents someone who has stepped away from old labels and chosen their own path. The meaning behind the white lightsaber is especially interesting because of how it is created. Ahsoka gets the crystals from a dark side user's red lightsaber. Those crystals had been corrupted or bled by the dark side, but instead of using them that way, Ahsoka purifies them, removing the darkness from inside them. This turns the blades white. The white lightsaber represents purity, healing, freedom, and independence. It does not fully belong to the Jedi, and it does not belong to the Sith. It belongs to someone who still wants to do good, but no longer needs an order or a title to define them. The purple lightsaber is one of the rarest and most interesting lightsaber colors in Star Wars. The most famous character to use a purple blade is Mace Windu, and because of that, the color has become strongly connected to power, confidence, and a warrior who is not afraid to stand out. Purple is interesting because it sits between blue and red. Blue is usually linked with Jedi protection, discipline, and heroism, while red is linked with the dark side, anger, and power. Because purple is a mix of those colors, many fans see it as representing a Jedi who understands darkness, but does not fully fall into it. That makes the purple lightsaber feel more intense than a normal Jedi blade. It does not feel as calm as green or as traditional as blue. Instead, it feels like the weapon of someone who is extremely controlled, but also dangerous when pushed into battle. Mace Windu is a perfect example of this. He was a Jedi Master, but he was also one of the most powerful fighters in the Jedi Order. His fighting style was aggressive, direct, and incredibly hard to master. So the purple blade fits him because it represents balance under pressure, the ability to face darkness without being consumed by it. The darksaber is not just another lightsaber color. It is one of the most legendary weapons in Star Wars. Unlike the other blades, the darksaber has a black core with a bright white edge, giving it a completely different look. It feels older, heavier, and more important than a normal lightsaber. When it appears, it does not just feel like someone is holding a weapon. It feels like they are holding history. It was created by Tare Vizsla, the first Mandalorian to become a Jedi, and over time it became a symbol of leadership, power, and the right to rule Mandalore. That is what makes the darksaber so different. But the darksaber represents legacy. It carries the weight of everyone who has used it before, and whoever holds it is often seen as someone with a claim to leadership.